What is an English word you really like? Mixturate. Ever since hearing it for the first time in a scene from the movie The Big Lebowski, I always thought that this particular word just sounded cool, despite what it actually describes. Now, let me get this straight. Every time a rug is micturated upon in this fair city, I have to compensate the person it's between, albeit I find it better than using but. An unsavory. I believe she engages in some unsavory shit. That was the first time I heard unsavory used in a sentence. I was eavesdropping on an adult conversation as a teen and it stuck with me ever since. Delaminate, 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 delaminate. Circumlocution. Persnickety. Gobbledygook. Flummoxed. Rambunctious. Discombobulated. Whippersnapper. Kerfuffle. Nincompoop. Hullabaloo. And finally, the name of the phobia of king words. Hippopotomonstrosesquippedaliophobia. Nipple. It feels good to say try it and tends to make people laugh, even when used in a totally serious manner. Grasp the pressure-release nipple between two fingers and turn counterclockwise to vent. Chronicle. Sounds so damn good. In Portuguese we have cronica, which sounds great too. But that H in the beginning and the clay at the end are just so delicious to hear. I like spatula. It's just a funny word. And I like that periwinkle the flower and periwinkle the snail developed completely independently of each other. That's just cool. Clairvoyant is my favorite word of all time, followed by intrepid, esoteric, and debauchery. I like the meanings of these words and I just love the way they sound. Not a word, but I like the difference between love and like. In my native language, you don't really feel the difference between liking something and loving it. Retired noun. 1. A top floor attic room, especially a small dismal one traditionally inhabited by an artist. The solitary genius starving in a cold garret. Discombobulated. All I can think about is the fact that commobulate isn't a word. How can we be discombobulated if we were never commobulated to begin with? Also, if you enjoy odd but beautifully meaning words, check out the Book of Obscure Sorrows. It's like a dictionary of words that have larger meaning. Petrichor 1. The distinctive scent which accompanies a first rain after a long warm dry spell. 2. The yellow organic oil that yields the scent. Ethereal. Transcendent. Cosmic. And for some reason, supper. It makes me think of like, spicy dinner, smiley face, maybe because it sounds like pepper. This might be dumb but condescending. It feels more specific than my native language. Herablassend. Patroneser end. Von oben herab. Shenanigans, antics, peachy keen, bees, knees, intergalactic, and nifty. Look, I have a larger list but there are lots of great words. Mellifluous. It's such a great word by itself, and even better when you find out it comes from Latin meaning flowing like honey. Cacistocracy. I learned the word existed during the Trump administration. Still useful today when watching the GOP attempt to lead. Write her a letter explaining the name choice. If that doesn't fix things, your grandma isn't the woman you thought she was. NTA. Preposterous, brilliant, astounding, shenanigans, ballax, pillac, utter, disgruntled, decadent. Not a native but soft, tender, gorgeous, healthy, cute, shinning, blue, willow, ocean, cliffhanger, silence, windflower. I see everyone went for the more complex ones. Mine is fuck. When used as an interjection born out of anger. Poop. I'm a simple man. It's not about what the word stands for. It's about the way it rolls off your lips. Lampoon. Read it while reading a book once and it's just a funny sounding word with a more serious meaning. Crisp. It starts in the back of your mouth and ends on your lips, and it sounds and feels like its meaning. Boondoggle. That's it. No, I don't use it like ever, but whoever created it must have had a good laugh. Detritus. It sounds so posh and euphonious but basically means a bunch of trash all over the place. Melancholy. Technically Greek but English is a mishmash of words from other languages, so it. Twitterpated, the feeling after looking at some fine female and her looking back with interest. Arduous. Because it is a bit arduous to say. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue so easily. Emo. Moist. It gets a rap for being a horrible word but it sounds and feels exactly what it means. Cunnilingus. Such a fancy way to say eat pussy, feels like I'm about to eat French or something. Loo. I'm a simple folk from the USA. I love the word loo. It's a toilet, but so much nicer. Crisp because the pronunciation starts at the back of your throat and ends at your lips. Trepidation. Somber. Reverence. Ascending. Symmetry. Silence. Nullify. Illuminate. Finagle. It's just really fun to use in place of tinker with or mess around with. Callipygian def. Having shapely buttocks. Old English way of saying nice ass. Engineered. Reminds me of engine. Which reminds me of petrol, and I love petrol. Serendipity. Luminescence. Iridescent. Illicit. Zephyr. Beguile. Entice. Fuck. Kerfuffle. It's my favorite word, and always try to find an excuse to use it. Witty versus any words. Decimate. Malevolently. Or as a nicer one, from Miranda Hart. Moist plinth. Bollax. Just. Endlessly satisfying when you're frustrated or disappointed. Sesquipedalian BC. It sounds like the squid is alien in a heavy French accent. My buddy called me a cuntosaurus once. I've loved that one since that day. Hippopotamus. Hip-hop anonymous because it still gives me a good chuckle. Moist. Even though other people hate it, it just sounds really good to say. I love the British slang term, wanker. I also like the phrase, piss off, surreptitious, or surreptitiously. Serendipitous was already out there. Bring back the 70s when we were using words like copacetic and bodacious. Callipygian. Callipygus. Far more refined than saying nice ass. Propinquity. It's the state of being near to something or someone. I read somewhere that cellar door is considered to be beautiful. I like most of them since they all make up the language I speak. I like the word bigot for some reason. It's a funny word, I guess. They are asking for English words people, not Harry Potter spells. My mom loves shapeshifter. She's not an English-speaking person. Extraneous. I mostly use it in the phrase extraneous bullshit. Quintessential and certainly have always been favorites of mine. Crisp. The sounds move from the back to the front of your mouth. Strip. I know what it means, but I really like the sound of it, because big elephants can always understand small elephants. Inordinate. It means a lot of something. Very versatile word. Hippopotamonstrous. Squipedaliophobia, the fear of long words. Icy or frost. I don't like the cold, but I like the words. Ardently. Wholesome. Cherish. Redemption. There's so many. Embarrassed. Smiley face. Flange. Moist and gusset. Dunno why, but I really like all three. Filing cabinet. I just find it funny and fun to say. Brexit. Sums up the stupidity and arrogance of the Brits. Pulchritudinous sounds terrible but means the opposite. Person shrugging. Smiley face. Tell them the put-ons are ads to the Jewish children. Hippopotamonstrous. Squipedaliophobia. Fear of long words. Pusillanimous. The original way to call someone a pussy. Sesquipedalian. It's a word used to describe long words. Fuck. There is no finer word in the English language. Pan, because it means bread in my language. I'm hungry. Penis. If you ask the question, you get the answer. Crass. I just wish I had more opportunities to use it. I'm not sure why, but I really like the word suture. Cunt, but only the really offensive American version. Meal. It's been my favorite word since I was like 11. Continuum. I like the W without it being a W. Copacetic. It's the best word. Also somnambulate,